Alrighty, y'all. Welcome to the Cosmic Podcast, Episode 4. Episode 4. Hey, guys. How are you?
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey. We're going to switch things here. Here we are. We're back. There it is again. Don't play the next song, YouTube. Bye. Okay, turn that off. All right. Here we are. Episode 4. How's everybody?
Good.
Great.
Cold. It's cold.
Yeah, what's the temperature up there today?
It's 35 Fahrenheit.
Yeah, Fahrenheit. Jörg, sorry. But, close to, that's like 2
We're
degrees.
gonna bring up the metric system.
Alrighty.
That metric guy again.
All right, so a little bit of a
3 degrees Celsius.
3 degrees Celsius.
It's about the same, yeah.
Yeah. All
Nice,
right, so
nice.
last time we talked, been a few things. Obviously, we talked about the new Mechina song that came out. Siege was awesome, right? Everybody,
Thank you.
everybody in chat. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Sure hope so.
It's
I was
yeah.
floored with the information density.
I was floored with that low B chug.
Mm.
Yes.
There's a lot of that happening this time around. It's a good time.
Is
It's very
that
low.
is that so? I wanted to ask you a quick question because, with this new song, I noticed something a little bit different. A little different as compared to, I guess, previous records. This album is pretty much, or not album, excuse me. This song. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, right? So Siege was quite synth heavy, as compared to symphonies and whatnot, or a combination of the two. Is this done intentionally? Is it just this song? Is it because the tonal, the tone has changed significantly for this album?
I think it's good. I think it's more without spoiling
Yeah,
it.
no-
The idea is this album. I think we were talking a little bit about this last time. The first half of this year, I wasn't writing much, and I did more studying, and I kind of the reason Siege sounds the way it does, and you'll see a lot of similarities across the album is because of that homework. It ended up we've done. Everybody says this when they release an album, when they say we've done something different. Now they've, and that's, I'm not saying that's not true, but it's almost taboo. This is the one. This is, it's always the one. This album came together in a very interesting way, a very painless way, which is different. And I considered not so much structure, but how I'm going to saturate the sound is very much different this time around. And I think I kind of figured out. I was real worried about writing a similar sounding album from, like, let's say the last 3. So with that in mind, I am changing it up a little bit. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Claps all around, In terms of
Golf clap, yes.
Yeah, golf club. In terms of any type of development, wherever it might go, I think is it sounds like it's a little bit more positive, feeling a little bit less stressful. Most definitely, right?
Yeah, well, that's when you have some preparation going into something. The more preparation you have, the more you're capable of dealing with hiccups, going through those walls as you write songs. And honestly, the preparation I was doing in the first 6 months seems to have worked. And usually right around this time of the year, I'm still speedballing sessions every day, just 12 hours every day, nonstop. Trying to, it's always been squirrely. This time around, I'm just hanging out, and that's a good sign. because the hiccups and the things where you trip over yourself in the final production stages when you're panicking. So this time around, I'm not so much going to do that. And every session we've had over the last month has been really good, and we don't have much left at all. So
that's great.
It's really awesome. Yeah, and
Wow,
we're gonna have a lot
yeah.
more time. We're gonna have a lot more
Yeah.
time to sit on the beat, sit on the songs and study them for final polish, or
Sure.
what do they call it, going from alpha to 1.0.
Sure.
So it's going well. It's very interesting, and I noticed the feedback that we got regarding that song, especially with the more hardcore fans, was majority positive. So I think I might have struck the right nerve with what we're doing. So, and everybody's real happy so far. So I can't complain.
Yeah, I read some comments that were really can I say it, like really empowering. Like it must feel like, okay, to those hardcore fans, you're on the right path.
Well, even the casual listeners, you always want to kind of see what first impressions are like in general. I find those to be very important just in general in life. So the feedback, I didn't have a timer on, but I looked at my phone twice, and it was 12 hours before we got our first dislike on YouTube. So I'm going to consider that a win, considering the state of things in the world.
There's always that one guy. He's like,
as soon as the one dude showed up, like 5 more followed. He was like, okay, someone has the ball. No. I don't know. It's I don't get really caught up on that. I don't expect everyone to like everything. It's all good. But the feedback, I always gauge the singles in late November, early December as finding out because when you're wrapped up in a project, you sometimes get consumed by it. That you got to get some feedback, and so I use them as kind of our beta test, and so far so good, which saves me a lot of stress in the end game, because the production standpoint, I've kind of got my template now. Right. So I'm happy about it.
Yeah, Joe, how do you decide which song of the album will be the promo singer?
I don't want to sit here and toot my own horn. We had a real problem.
Toot it, man.
We had a real problem picking a song, because we're at the
like
point
every year or this year.
This year in particular. Usually when we do an album, there's these two or three songs we're like, yeah, that's probably going to be a single. This time around, we actually had we had another song already, a whole different song that was going to be the single.
Really?
And then, and then Siege came up, and we were like, man, this is a good one too. Then we were like, well, let's have Anna,
talk about Anna.
Let's make a celebration out of this and make this the single, but man, the songs, you could close your eyes and run your finger across and pick one, and it could pass as a single.
Nice.
It's really,
that's a good song.
I'm really happy about it. Yeah, I really, and you know what? The songs aren't short. They're not single length. I mean, I think the average length of the songs on this is, what's up?
Are there any 20-minute songs?
No, there's not any 20 minutes.
No, I'm just kidding.
Worst album ever.
Worst album.
Yeah.
No, I think we're averaging about 7.5, 8 minutes.
That's
so the album's got it doesn't have a ton of songs, but all the songs are you get it, your money's worth, so to speak. There's a lot going on. So yeah, we just picked it because it just ended up being that way. Anna had a part to play with choosing that song. We wanted to kind of be like, what, let's all kind of show off what we're made of, and it was good. Everyone seemed to like it. It was good shit.
Getting Anna was super cool.
Like one one person proposes the song and then you're like voting, or how is the process as a group? Because normally you guys are like you're three guys in the band, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
not for with his feature you're like four. So how do you like what's the decision making process?
It's really more or less we just usually I'll try to initiate it by saying like, what do you think? Like it's usually me and Dave primarily kind of just jumping back and forth. I'm like, Dave, what do you think about this being the single? He'll listen to it and I'll be like, yeah, sure.
Okay.
You know, we're very pragmatic about it. So, you know, I like I said before, we had another song slated for a single, and right at the last minute, I was like, "Left turn, everyone, we're going this way." And
Strap in, baby.
Dave's like, "All right, I know the drill. I'm hanging on." So you know, we just kind of went for it, and we really just wanted to get the, we just wanted to see what that one ended up being the most completed, I guess, at the point. Like that had a piece to do with it as well, but it was more or less we're going to sometimes we try to pick a song that's kind of got a universality within the song that can kind of spread across the rest of the album, so you kind of give them a song that's like a buffet, or try to something that's like in the past. I'd like, let's pick a song that gives them everything, kind of, and then, you know, go from there. You know, see.
Yeah.
So that's kind of how that panned out in its weird, chaotic way.
Don't mind me. I had to ban.
What would they say?
No. It was like, oh, do you want to buy followers? I was like, no, fuck off.
Okay, yeah, that guy.
Yeah, that guy. I got two of them.
He's like everywhere, right?
It's almost like a robot.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah, what did I want to say? Oh yeah. Yeah, getting Anna on was super cool, you know. I found Conflict like a year or two ago, and I was like, oh, this is really cool, you know, because I just like the industrial style. And yeah, so it's like a, what do you call it? It's like a fucking I don't know, Christmas cake or whatever. I don't know, birthday cake, whatever. It's the Christmas cake and the cupcake. I got both.
Christmas cakes.
Yeah, you leave us and our cake alone. Let us enjoy one thing in December. Shit. The Anna was great. She was professional as hell.
Nice.
We've been friends for a while, and you know, I was just like, yo, you want to party? She's like, yep. I'm like, all right, here's the song, go for it.
What a collab.
Nice. She knocked it out of the park. Couldn't be happier.
I wanted to ask one other thing. The lyric video was done by, I can't pronounce his name, I apologize.
Unexisted.
Oh, it's Unexisted. Okay. Did you, because he released a few songs from Xenon, did you ask him to do those?
I straight up, I saw the video and I just messaged him. I found him on Facebook. I was like, hey.
He does a good job.
Yeah, I did. And I was like, yo, you want to do a video? He's like, yes. I was like, awesome. Simple.
That's so cool.
You know? Yeah, he did it quick too. I mean, it took him maybe a few days.
Nice.
And I was, you know, when you're in the maelstrom of delegating workloads, you can only ask for people to be right on point. And yeah, he did great. And it was cool that he just immediately got back and he was like super helpful and he did a good job. So yeah, that's good.
I agree. What was that?
Shout out to that guy.
Unexisted, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yep.
One other thing I wanted to ask. It was a question I got, and you had said a few months ago, it was probably like April, that you were learning a lot of newer styles. You studied in terms of mixing and, you know, mastering or whatever. Bullet point wise, what were some of the things you learned?
Oh boy, more on the producer scale. Okay. Engineering for sure, but I learned to let things go. a little bit easier and not
Okay.
get caught up on unnecessary workloads for the task at hand. Because you'll be, if you're in the, if you're in the whirlwind of writing, you can have, squirrel ADD and just go, I'm going to work on drums for 30 minutes and then I'm over in this direction. I'm going to tweak some guitars. And then I'm going to go do a bass part on that. And then you realize like you didn't get really anything done,
Right.
except little pieces. So I learned to kind of, I'm not moving on to X until I have Y done. I've just made checklist after checklist after checklist, and getting that out of the way makes life easier in general. Just especially when you're doing it yourself to a degree. And production standpoint, I worked with a lot of bands this year, and I've had a lot of hours behind the mixing and mastering. And they were my guinea pigs a lot of the time. So I've learned
Nice.
from that, and I didn't sit around like on YouTube listening like to other people explain how to like limit on a master. It was just sheer workloads and just working with people and getting actual hands on, and then you just get your own kind of you start to learn how certain plugins work, and you're like, oh, okay, and then you
Right.
experiment, and lo and behold, you kind of evolve your sound with just experience,
Right. Hell yeah. That's one thing I struggle with. Like, I'm so ADD or ADHD. I'm like, oh yeah, that's nice, and it's like, oh, but the drums sound bad. I'm gonna go work. Kind of do it that way.
Yeah,
And
getting caught up in the snare always.
Right. Well, I'm trying to figure out now because, I have Superior Drummer 3, and I'm trying to route the individual mics out to Reaper, like a bus out, I guess. And everything's like fucking clipping, maxing out, and it's like, all right, so I got to turn everything down, and I'm trying to figure out, oh, what mic should go where. And it's hard to find even info because it is very, what would the word be? It depends on the person, right?
Okay.
How they was like, oh, for Superior Drummer 3 and Reaper, I like to do this, and it's like, all right, I'll send the bus out here, and then but if you want to have these bleed mics, it's like, all right, yeah, whatever. It's like, all right, whatever.
Superior Drummer 3 is very it's fantastic. There's a lot of things to do with it, but it's in the name. It's pretty much it really is. I think once I've been since I got Superior Drummer 3, which has been about 2 years, I pretty much had my one kit that I've slowly evolved its sound better and better every time I've used it. I haven't really changed my drum kit for a few years.
Nice.
I've just been trying to get it better sounding, so to speak. So you just kind of get your template, and then you get your own template and your own routing setup. I'll bus I bus Superior Drummer into what is it? 4 stereo audio tracks, and one is kick drum, one is snare, one is toms, and the other one is literally everything else.
Okay.
And then I'm able to put Pro Tools plugins on top of those instead of you know what I mean. And it's working good. I've kind of found how I route it. Whenever I resample drums for anybody, I kind of use my own template, 4 stereo outs.
Right.
And you load up a preset in Superior Drummer and you're on your way.
Do you mix the flat drums in Superior Drummer 3, or do you just send and then edit in Pro Tools?
So I write all my drums in MIDI tracks in Pro Tools, and then those MIDI tracks. So I'll have 5 to 7 MIDI tracks. So one MIDI track will just be the kick drum MIDI. Next track will be just snare MIDI, tom MIDI, hi-hat MIDI, ride MIDI, China MIDI, cymbal MIDI. Because if you have one MIDI track with a whole
everything.
you'll see is 1,000 lines. Yeah. So and then those are all routed to Spirit Drummer, and then Spirit Drummer's out goes into a handful of tracks that have their own, and then I'll write my drums in via MIDI, and then just circles around, and then I mix the output of Spirit Drummer.
Gotcha.
So
cool. I don't know. I'll noodle if I can. I just got to figure out what works.
Yeah, just noodle away. There's so much to do, especially with all the libraries and stuff. It's a good time.
Yeah, and putting this keyboard in front of me has significantly.
Yes.
Just kind of. It's like I just open Reaper, and then sometimes it's like, oh, see what happens.
No one wants to turn to their side when their keyboard's in front of them. It's
That's weird.
Yeah, this is nice. Happy this. All right.
So
go ahead.
Lore wise, can you tell us where the story's heading?
And it's so close to the end. It's so here's the one thing that I want to emphasize is like the lyrics in this album are they've turned out really good. Nice. And they're really telling the story a lot better, a little bit more detailed. There is this entire album. Well, okay. Let's see.
No spoilers.
A good proportion of this album, I'd say at least half of this album is taking place at the exact same time as one of our singles. But it's on the opposite side. So we're doing like we're doing a like there's going to be a point where it's coexist.
Yeah, coexist.
Yeah. That's there's a point in the story where that song completely overlaps with the middle of this album. It's just different. It's a different character's perspective though.
Okay.
So it's a good time. It's very interesting. It has a lot to do with Ennio's character, but other characters from previous albums are being brought back in and kind of setting the stage for it. A lot of gaps are being filled in again, so I'm pretty happy with it. The lore's doing real well. And it honestly, it's not even so much because we do a lot of lore with sound design, and I'm not really sitting around doing too much sound design right now. The lyrics are doing they're doing fine. I don't need to throw us into like some kind of movie soundscape to prove a point. Although there is some of that, the lyrics really have taken place. It's just crafted in a way where I feel that even without sound design, people will kind of get what's going on.
Sure.
And I'm real excited to see the guys that really take the lore into take it to heart, go through it, and kind of see the light bulbs go off. It's gonna be a good time.
Are you gonna have reoccurring? So you mentioned coexist. Are you gonna have? Well, I guess you don't have to say, but like, do you have any like audio clips that were used in Coexist taking place in the new album? If that makes sense.
Not
in terms of sound design, not sound design.
Not
okay.
Sound design.
Okay.
There is callbacks in different in musical and lyrical forms, but we're not. This is very much on the nose in the sense where you'll know which side you're on while you're listening to it.
Gotcha.
It's pretty interesting.
Super excited.
Nice.
Too. I'm excited to get done with it.
On to the next one.
Yeah, fuck. After Muck Off, maybe.
All right. Jörg, did you have anything else on this song here? Or any other?
Like I could totally like dump some lore into your lap, but I just don't want to do it right now.
Yeah, sure.
I feel that it's like we'll catch up maybe after the album's out.
Yeah, sure.
Can kind of and then go over the lore because I don't want to just give everyone the trailer, so to speak.
Yeah.
That would make more sense.
All right. So maybe let's move on. So let me think. We wanted to does. Do you want to just, because it's fun, talk about the monoliths real quick?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
they there. Actually, I've read today there are 2 new ones. One in Switzerland, and the other one I forgot.
There was one in Texas, and they ripped it out immediately. Apparently, what I heard.
Motherfuckers.
Texas. My thoughts on it at this point, it was probably an artist, and now there's just a bunch of copycats, which is my guess. I kind of agree, because Dave was like,
I like Dave's opinion.
I kind of
like,
do too. It's like it kind of makes sense.
What is Dave's opinion?
It's
It's
a
just-
marketing campaign for something. Like
I thought it's something for this TesseracT thing that was today.
That was actually they actually didn't know about it. They did all this before the monoliths.
right.
So it's
I
just
remember seeing that picture, and I was like,
Ah,
are they the baddies?
yeah. my exact thought. But since that thing happened, and they say they did not say anything about it, so it's not TesseracT. We know it now.
I would be more excited to I would give the monolith thing more. I'd be more excited if it's something like cool outside. If something if it did something.
yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you walked up to it, phones turned off, I'd be like, well, that's neat.
That's
like
neat.
what is this? But it's like I saw a video of one of them getting picked up and shoved in a trunk of a
Yeah.
car.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, it's
That.
just some dude in a welder
I was
made
like,
that.
Right, right.
Humans again.
Not magnetic.
Boo.
This is not it should be like it should be like the Baby Yoda scene where it's like you can't get through the field as he said, like that's what the monolith should have been about, but I think it's just some dude making modern art, which is why it's confusing everybody.
Indeed.
Mm.
I think it's a bunch of copycats now, especially in all these different regions. Because imagine, hey, I need to bring this monolith to Switzerland. It's like you can't fly with that.
Or it's just some coked out millionaire who's like, I
have a boat.
Cool. Yeah, I have a boat, dude.
Yeah.
I need 15 monoliths built. Why? Just trust me.
Trust me, it's gonna be good.
Yeah, we're gonna start a business, bro.
He's like totally coked up. What do we need? Monolith. Lots of him, and then we just airdrop him.
Yeah, right. But so you mentioned TesseracT, and I did actually watch the majority of that stream, and
It crashed.
yeah, it crashed. Unfortunately, they said there was some technical difficulty, but it's up now. You can watch it if you bought tickets or whatever. But they said, that just happened. Like we didn't even intend. Like we just had a monolith, and then monoliths appeared. It's really weird. I don't know.
Like a TesseracT super fan.
Wearing a shirt. Because
Yeah.
the stream was really good. Like I told Jörg, we talked a little bit. That kind of avenue of digital live shows, having some sort of, obviously a light show, and then maybe even some character production or whatnot. I think that and concerts are now going to be the dual medium, shows. Because here's the thing, I'm super introverted. I don't want to fucking go out to shows. I would much rather prefer.
Mosh pits are not nearly as fun as they used to be. As the older you get, you're just like, I don't wanna.
Yeah, right. Don't touch me.
I'm getting kicked in the head again. Great, awesome.
But especially being a musician or whatever, being in the right headspace really depends on, I guess, the person. But for me, I would much prefer to have a super dope set and play, not necessarily in front of people, but just be in a not better, but a more relaxed state of playing the songs and whatnot. And plus you can throw a little extra production bit in there, and I think it's here to stay, in my opinion.
I think it really depends on budget.
Jörg said that.
If you can make your money back, because I didn't watch the TesseracT video, but I did see it did cross my path. I saw the screenshot. It looked it looked HD as hell.
Yeah,
So
4K.
I'm assuming there's been investment into that video. I don't know how often you could do that unless the cost of production comes down. And then at that point, like
Everyone's
I've always
doing
said, it always falls back on the it always falls back on the music. So it could be here to stay. I don't know. I mean, we're still all sitting around kind of looking at each other like, so what's the industry gonna do? Like, and the industry really hasn't changed because streaming already became popular before, obviously, this year. And now with everybody really streaming, so to speak, it's only taken off. But the whole, it's been said before for years. It's like a lot of bands make their profit at shows. They go sell their merch. They get money off the door, money off the bar. It pays the gas to get them to those shows. Anyone who's in a band knows exactly what that means. And if the money's not there, the performance is not going to be there. So it's going to be an interesting 24. I think the industry is going to be slowly lurking, like they're like opening doors and seeing if the rooms are empty or not. They're just kind of like looking at routes like, oh, this is a dead end, we'll go this way.
Sure.
And I'm obviously not in the upper echelons of music industry stuff, so I'm not even going to try to sound like I know what I but for an independent band that's looking at like, okay, well, do we make money off of, do you make any money off of streaming? Like if you do, can that pay everyone's, can that
anything?
Can it pay anything? It's like, well, if you got to sell merchandise by yourself or you're going to sell it, you can't sell it at shows, so you've got to have a storefront. The one thing that I've noticed, and I've talked to some clients in the past about, is since this year happened, everybody turned to the internet. Everybody's got a, podcasts are a thing now. Everybody's doing podcasts right now. And so the internet was the internet kind of saved us in a weird way this year. It helped ease the blow, but the thing is now it's oversaturated again because there's
every
a lot
band
of
got their own podcasts. And
I know bands that barely do any internet stuff. They're all live, and now they're sitting around like, well, I guess we just have to keep making albums and then just releasing them. And I was like, welcome to my hell, boys. It's like it's all good, but it's like some people are. I wouldn't be surprised if a fifth of all bands that are out this year are gone in 2-3 years. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if art gets consolidated down, because I know with the invention of the internet, it helped the arts flourished, but now because it's because it was an alternative. Now the alternative is getting into it's turning into its own single form. So it's hard to compete on the internet when it's hard to compete in any venue when everyone's there. So
totally.
I think the live show, I'm sorry, the video shows, we will know if those are going to stick around over time. We'll just it'll be dependent on the draw. It's not much different than a live show. If you can't pull anyone through the door, nobody cares. So we'll see. I mean, I hope it always works out, but I don't know. I do not know.
I think it's more of an impact, and I said it to Jörg, and I'll say it to you. With bands that have concepts, it'll probably be not enjoyable, but more impactful.
Probably you have more technical control over it for sure. Especially because if you think about it, it's almost like bands are putting on digital plays now.
Yeah, right.
So you can't to do that live night after night after night is crazy. But if you do it, once every month, you have way more time and energy to kind of focus in on that one performance versus trying to replicate that every night. So the quality may go up because of that, but the quantity may go way down. But it is, I think it's just survival mode at this point.
Yeah.
Especially with bands that want to play.
You know.
I also think that it depends on the genre, because I've seen TesseracT for a few times now, and every year they got more like they moved away from being a live band, like sound wise, and sounded even live like a studio recording. Like it was super separated and super transparent. Yeah, and I had the feeling, okay, I'm listening to it like at home right now through my monitors. Yeah. Also their shows were always like really like not loud, and they don't have this like live pressure, like where you felt like compressed air
when your pants are shaking.
Yes, which is very much very important for me when I go to a live show.
Yeah.
It has to be something very 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 physical, very chaotic, very violent, like not in a mosh pit kind of way, but I have to have the feeling that there's air coming from the stage and it's like moving me, and then there's this bass and everything, and also the live sound, everything like bleeds into each other like a little bit, so it's not super transparent but also not like super mushy, and you don't, I mean I'm specifically talking more like about high energy music, like mostly metal and punk rock and guitar music and stuff. Yeah, and TesseracT sounded more and more like a studio project that played live, like so like overly well produced, and everything was in place, and I was like, okay, I feel like I don't know, I'm wasting money here because I could just stay at home. And that's where Michael's point comes in place. There would be like for TesseracT, it makes like really sense to stay at home and listen to it in all of your coziness, because they want to have this studio like sound, and it makes perfect sense, because one of the guitarists, he works at a studio, or he even has his own studio.
Did TesseracT, wasn't that a studio project when it started?
I think
like,
so.
Yeah,
it definitely is now.
Yeah, because
I mean, before TesseracT was TesseracT, it was Fell Silent.
Okay.
And the days of old, like when Gent was young, and you had I always forget the name of the one TesseracT guy, like the smaller guitarist, and he had a band and it was called Fell Silent, and the other guitarist of Fell Silent was John Brown, and he plays in a band called Monoliths.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe heard of them. Yeah. Also pretty good guitarist and pretty good producer. And then they split up after one album, and the one started Monuments and the other guy started TesseracT. And I think TesseracT was at the beginning was at the album one, it was the studio project, but it formed like pretty fast formed into this life thing. And
what year was that? What year did they start?
1950.
You see.
I don't know, man.
I'll look it up. Whoops, can't spell.
Jamie.
Yeah, Jamie. Well, it looks like
Jamie. Young Jamie, do a thing.
Looks like 2011.
Really?
Well, Concealing Fate is here as well. That's 2009, but the album 1 was 2011.
Wow.
Look up
Interesting.
Fell Silent really quick. Please.
Hopefully they're on Tidal.
Purizo.
They might not be, because Fell Silent. Is it Hidden Worlds? I don't think that's it.
Nah.
All right, let me see. Like Fell, like F-E-L? L?
I got it.
Okay.
Got it. 2008.
Is it called The Hidden Words?
The Hidden Words.
Okay, I see it here. They have the master tracks. I might listen to it. Because I'm curious to hear that combination of John Brown and the other
You
guitarist.
really you listen to it and it's right there. It's like proto monument / Tesseract.
That'll be cool. That'll be a cool listen to.
I can highly recommend it. It's fun. It's fun to listen to.
Cool.
It's like really raw. The raw idea of like this modern metal stuff that we're in now. What did I want to say? Yeah, and with every Tesseract release, you have this studio videos where they like play like Concealing Fate was the first one. They play front to back, and with the next album where they're so you see they are going for a studio sound and not and they want to replicate it live. So it makes perfect sense for a band like TesseracT to have this portal.
Yeah. Yep. Portals.
I
Yep.
don't know.
Okay. Monoliths.
Yeah. Pluralizations. So it makes sense, but I think I think it was Code Orange, where they were like one of the first bands that made this like full live production live stream thing. And that felt really weird, kind of, because this is a really violent and noisy band, and to get this music so transparent and this punk rock attitude, punk rock hardcore, you name it, like in a really kind of, I don't know, you could
it's like sterilizing it.
Yeah. That was weird. Yeah, because Code Orange, they need the violence and the chaos, and TesseracT, they don't really need that. They need the transparency. Yeah, so either one makes sense, and I hope that the live video live stream concert thing is here to stay, and maybe some infrastructure will be put up over the next years, so clubs can provide it. Fun thing is, in Vienna there is a club and there is a promoter. They are already doing that for underground bands, and they're like, okay, we make a full-on live stream production for your underground band, and you don't have to pay a thing. You don't get money, but you can come and we film you and produce it and stream it.
Yeah,
which is a good deal, I guess.
That's cool. I mean, it's using a stage and a sound system that's probably not being used in the meantime. So they're
and they can like self-promote, and they also promote your band, and they promote like underground culture and shit, which is cool. And I wanted to stay, but I also think that some genres or some bands or some type of art needs a certain environment to feel authentic. When I can use my big boy words here. Kind of. What do you think, guys?
I'm having deja vu. I'm trying to think of what I'm thinking. Don't mind me.
I think it really, because I kind of like, I love Devin Townsend. I love the theatricalness. That's a word. That
It is now.
yeah, it is now. If Devin's done that 5 times this year so far. In reality, he's done 5 shows over the internet, and they're just fun. I don't have to go out. I don't have to get dressed. I don't have to fucking.
I don't even have to put pants on.
I don't want to put pants on.
Well, okay, let's use an analogy here. Okay. So, what would look at how? Let's talk about studios for a second and production. I was pretty lucky to be taught. A lot of my mentors were guys that were doing the stuff in late 70s throughout the 80s and 90s.
Okay.
And they were the old school analog dudes. And they said when digital showed up in 90, 91, when digital audio showed up, a whole swath of engineers quit. They didn't want to learn. It was too, they were like, wait, we're going to do computers now? Like, no, I work with tape. I work with analog. This is like, I'm not. And they in over time, they retired or went off to some else. Some guys adapted. Some guys didn't, just like any big change.
Yeah.
The cost of studio work has been going down and down and down and down and down pretty much since the beginning. Like if you were to jump back to 1975 and show anyone in a studio what you could do on a laptop, I mean, first of all, they'd be freaked out by the laptop. Second of all, they'd be like, wait a second, you could record what? You could do, instead of us using this $6 million Studio A, we can get, now obviously there's a reason. I'm not downplaying, big Studio A's, their preamps are $10,000. There's a reason they cost that much. They're really good. But, the analogy between, the production and the thing is, it wasn't, this was just a technological. So the analogy is actually not totally correct because the digital to analog switch just came because technology evolved. With this, we're talking about venues and bands playing shows, not because no one's going to shows anymore. It's not just like evolving slowly and there's less and less demand.
Yeah, there was a forced change to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it might be, this may be momentary. It may be a Band-Aid for, I mean, it once again, it very much depends on how people and government wants to react to restrictions. If they open everything up, and you better believe there's going to be a ton of people that are like, I can't wait to go out to shows. I can't wait to go see shows. Then there's a whole group of people that are like, I am never going outside again. You know what I mean? So it's really too soon for us to say like how this is going to stick around, because it only takes a flip of a switch in a few weeks and things go in another direction. So
sure.
it's good that it's good that there's, I noticed a lot this year that a lot of bands outside of, let's step out of like the live show videos. I've seen a lot of bands go straight to like making just music videos. There's been a lot more music videos from a lot. It seems like there's more music videos now, and it's like, well, what, unfortunately, like, I'm not a huge fan of music videos. They're too quick sometimes, but once again, I think it always comes down to budget. It's like some guys skip out on costs and you can see it. But everyone's coping the best they can with the circumstances. They're trying to figure out where the fan base is when you can't, reach out and high five them anymore. Weird.
Remember high-fiving people?
Oh God, dude.
like distance high five. You'll make like, hey.
Yeah, right.
Which
Who
is the
remembers
saddest form.
places?
It's the saddest high five ever.
Yeah, it's like, and someone stands behind there and makes like this, so you have the sound. So you need 3 people for a high five.
All right, there you go.
That will be weird. Yeah.
All right. So that was a fun discussion. Let's move on. Should we
Nice
jump
segue.
in? What? Nice segue. I mean, who needs anything when you can just have artificial intelligence and Neuralink in your brain? Here's your
nice
segue. There's your segue.
Yeah. Great
Can
job,
we get
bro.
those brain dances that they were showing about in that new video game? Like, I want some brain dances, or what is that? That's what they call it, brain dance, BDs.
Are you talking
Am I
about?
spoiling shit? Yeah, I'm spoiling shit. I'm
Is it
talking about
Cyberpunk? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you want to talk
Cyberpunk
about
is-
that briefly?
Oh yeah, sure.
I don't have it because 1, I'm broke. 2, I'm broke. Well,
3, I'm broke.
3, I need a new computer, but I'm broke.
How broke are you?
No,
I'm
just kidding.
broke like 3 reasons.
Even if I did buy it, I don't think my computer would play it very well. Even though I want to play it.
I have a perfect description of the last 3 days with the game. It was okay. I'm gonna sum this up the best I can. It's as if you went on a first date that was absolutely horrible,
Aww.
but you knew you fell in love somewhere in
Aww.
between. That is what Cyberpunk is. It was the date that gone wrong.
It sounds nice.
It sounds nice.
Let me tell you what I did. I bought it. I preloaded it. I was ready to go. I was excited. I've been waiting. Luckily I've been busy, so I'm not really I'm not sitting around just for that one thing. But got on, loaded it up, and I run a 4K rig, so the problem was this game is so demanding that I got so pissed that I had to downscale my resolution to play it at a reasonable frame rate that I actually returned it and got a refund in like an hour, because you only have 2 hours on Steam. You only have 2 hours on Steam. And then you can't refund it. And I was at 90 minutes, and I was already spending like 20 minutes in the settings trying to get this thing to run okay. And I slept it off, and I was like, all right, you know what? My bad. I overreacted. I'm going back. So I went and I got it again. And I got it to run okay. The problem is that game is not designed for the hardware that's available right now. Remember how the joke was, but can it play Crisis?
Yeah, it's now
Cyberpunk. Crisis? Cyberpunk has taken that trophy.
I
so
agree.
it can play. I mean, you see the videos and the people with 3090 RTXs are still getting like 40 frames per second on max, and it's like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Those video cards just came out and they're $1,600, and you're telling me what? It's like the game, unfortunately, and the fact that people got it on like PlayStation 4 and the last generation Xbox.
Man, amazing.
Everybody I've talked about, they're like, this looks like crap. Like, it's because it's down. It's because it's downscaled to run on that machine. It's
potato.
It's so that that's my experience with Cyberpunk. But the thing is, it really is actually quite good, and it's a good time. I'm happy I didn't quit on it. So even though I overreacted, I was just pissed because it was like, man, my rig is not weak, and I'm just like, man, I'm not spending $1,600 video card to play one game. So I was a little pissed off. I was a little pissy about it, but I let it go. It's a single player game, so you can deal with lower, like when you play multiplayer games, you can't have a game that runs under 30 frames per second. You're if it's online and it's competitive, you're just gonna get you're just gonna get wrecked. But single player games, I grew up playing Elder Scrolls and Fallout. I didn't care if I had to turn the graphics down because I was just having a good time.
Right.
Stress, you kind of worked your way through it, but it was a good time. So far so good. I think I've only got 5 or 6 hours into it.
Hang on, my Skype just had a stroke.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
Give me a second. Sorry. I wanted to do a mic drop joke. Guess what runs better, guys? Guess what runs better than Cyberpunk?
Hold on, I got this.
You should get this. Hopefully.
What runs better?
I don't know. Say it. Bring it.
Every game made.
What's a very extravagant game that isn't out yet officially?
Man, what kind of question is that? What do you?
I don't know.
Like, what game has not been invented yet? Like,
well, it's invented, but it's not done.
Oh, okay. What
Star
runs?
Citizen.
Oh, he called.
Did I get it right?
Yes, you did.
It.
Damn.
It does. It actually does
really
run.
run?
Yeah, it does.
Austria wins.
I
I need to reinstall that now. Great.
I can play it at like a decent 70 frames at 1440p.
That's perfect. Yeah, that's great. It's a good time.
Now you might bug out and jump into space, but I mean the game, the game looks nice and it's no choppy or whatnot. But you might get ejected into space.
That's okay.
That's what it's about.
That's what it's about.
It's in the name Star Citizen, so prepare
Citizen
to get
of the
ejected.
stars.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
yeah, sorry. I mentioned brain dance and the Cyberpunk thing, but we were talking about. Oh yeah, you brought up
Neuralink.
Yeah. What are your guys' thoughts on it?
I want it.
I want it too.
I
want to watch someone do it. Like I want to see it in practice. I just, you know what I mean? Like I want to make sure that
wouldn't be the first adopter.
I don't want to if someone's eyes start rolling in the back of their head and then they're bleeding from the eye, like the nose and stuff. I'm gonna be like,
that's a nice way to go.
Yeah, if only you felt what I felt.
I think you guys maybe heard of this Swedish company that gave chip implants to their employees. Maybe heard of it.
I did.
No.
I've heard of that. Yeah.
I think briefly.
They basically changed out their employee ID cards that you use to pay for lunch or swipe over this magnet thing to get in and out and through various security stations and things. And I think that's a very, very practical thing to have, but there is no definitive rule set for it. Yeah,
There's no laws.
Yeah, it is not. It is like the field test kind of ish. Yeah, I mean when you think on you could eliminate every card that you have and just make this implant for everyone. Yeah, and you can just pay stuff, identify yourself, store information. I don't know, share it there when you need to get to the doctor, with all your medical stuff and so on and so forth. It sounds really practical. The thing is always what happens when someone fucks around with it, or it breaks, or someone cuts off your arm and steals your identity, and so on and so forth.
Right.
That's the worst case. Hopefully the worst case. Yeah.
I mean, have you played Cyberpunk?
No,
Give me your chip.
It'd be the I mean, the first thing that would get me is like the oh yeah, we put an update on it. Your chip now has GPS tracking. It's like, what?
No
Fuck,
thanks.
damn it. They put that in the back door, and now they can, you know what I mean? And it's not like
my only answer would be, I don't need that. My phone already does it.
And they're gonna say you don't need your phone anymore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
it would replace your phone totally.
The GPS tracking thing is, of course, a very critical thing, but also just because there isn't really like a law or rules what one can do with the data.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nice that you can use it. You will like literally never get lost again. Yeah, you will always find a way, and you can do shenanigans like track your. I mean, especially for me when I go for a run, I can track like my average time and my elevation gain and yada yada yada, which is
That'll be cool.
nice to know, but not crucial. It's just nice to know. And of course, someone is storing this data. Yeah, and the thing is, what are they allowed? The Illuminati, of course. What are they allowed to do with my data? Yeah, and how can it maybe one day get used like against me? Like not from the company that gets the data, but maybe are they allowed to sell it or?
Well, that's the tricky part because it could be the business. The chip business may, these are all, they're run by people too. So it depends on intention, of course. It's why I've always tried to be kind of skeptical on those things because
you gotta.
It's a safe bet that it's not all honest. I mean, we skipped right through that with clicking on terms and conditions. It's like, yeah, just accept it, buddy. You're not gonna read all this. You're like, fuck, all right, fine. Like I just agreed to it.
Yeah.
No one's got the time for it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's the same for like this advertisement thing that you get on social media.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of, I don't know, it feels like you talk about it and the next 5 minutes you get the right ad for it, and you think, okay, I just talked with my
it's really
mom
creepy
about I don't know, diapers. And the next thing was now I get diaper spam everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah. It's true. Well, I mean, we all know it's happening. It's just under what degree it's happening is where it's all confusing.
It's just ads at the moment.
Yeah.
And you can install ad block or just like be a grown up and scroll past it. Yeah, and it's like, okay, no, fuck it.
Yeah, it's not the end of the world if it's just ads, but
but it's just one step on the road of like, I don't know,
putting your bank account in the card. That's another thing other people say where it's like, oh, your bank account in your chip. You know what I mean? So it's like, we always joke. Well, you're getting my tinfoil hat on. They're like, well, they'll put your bank account on the chip and then they'll just turn your chip off. And you're like, oh, you can't buy anything. It's
right.
Like,
but
but then that's like, well, they could do that to your card too. So it's like
that won't be something new. Yeah, I mean, we already gave that away.
It's already maybe too late. You might as well just accept it. Fucking put the chip in me.
Yeah, but the thing is, there are so many regulations to how the finance world works and how your private money thing works. Yeah. Because those are complex systems, and there were a lot of people like sitting there and thinking about worst case scenarios and making plan A to Z for when something happens to user access card. Yeah. So because you're literally a big part of your existence depends on that piece of plastic that you wear around, like that is your debit and credit card. Yeah, because you buy your food, you pay your rent, and so on and so forth. Yeah, you pay your internet, which is the most important thing.
Of course.
And then comes food.
Yeah.
Because we know 30 days without food, but not 3 hours without internet, right?
What am I supposed to do?
Yeah,
I can't do anything.
Yeah,
Go outside.
meet people.
I think with these concepts, I think as a whole right now, we go to the worst case scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And I do that. I'll be the first to say I do that.
You gotta.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I think it's important to be like a healthy skeptic.
Yeah, skeptical.
Oh, healthy skeptic. Yeah, not like painting everything black and everything news like, oh, this is shit, the government and yeah, stuff like that. But also see it like as an opportunity, like to bring us as a species further and maybe closer together. Yeah. And to see how complex it is and how how intensely it would change our ways. Yeah,
right.
because when I think back, I completely lived the change from the analog world into the digital world.
Mm-hmm.
The pre-internet days.
Yeah, I was there.
I know, right? We're the first generation that knew what the before the internet was like.
We're really old. Yeah,
it's okay.
Just for.
I listen. Yeah. Everybody brings it up. I'm like, I want to go back to like 1995. 90s were great. 90s were okay. They weren't bad. They really weren't bad.
Hell yeah, I was a baby.
You were a baby. Okay, just for info, I'm 33 now. So people.
34 boys. I got all of you. It's all good.
Right.
You won.
All right.
Hey, Grandpa.
Yeah, right.
I'm the 30.
Tell us about the war.
Yeah.
Which one?
Both of those.
No.
You're that old.
There was a company called Napster, and it was great.
Good times. So we
got to get Dave in one of this. You want to talk about a 30-year-old boomer?
Oh my God,
Dave's a 30-year-old boomer. I hope he hears this right now.
Hi, Dave.
He knows
if you're here.
30-year-old boomer.
Shout out, Dave.
Shout out, Dave.
So we haven't touched Neuralink. So, Mr. Mike B, what is your take on it?
Well, obviously, I love Elon. Actually, no, I'll sidetrack myself. I don't want to. I'm pretty into what Elon does, what he's doing with Tesla, SpaceX, and now Neuralink. I think he's kind of putting us into the position where we probably should be, in my opinion, at this point. With computers and whatnot advancing, and we got to get our ass to Mars. I'm just saying. It's going to be really hard, but I'm going to...
You had such an opportunity to do an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression with Get Your Ass to Mars.
Get your ass to Mars.
I can do it. Get your ass to Mars.
We were just talking about him, too.
Before that, Arnold.
Before we started.
Total Recall reference, my bad. Continue.
No, that's funny. But yeah.
Where Elon, you were saying how Elon is
the greatest.
The great. Well,
he's pretty great.
He seems like he's one of the few people that gets the future that everybody was kind of talking about for the last 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? He seems to not have wavered from, like, you know, of all the things that we have to deal with on Earth right now. Mars is kind of secondary to a lot of people, but he's never wavered from it. He's like, you know what, I'm still doing it, and you can admire that because, you know, I was really not to derail this, but I mean, going back to what they sent the what was it, the Dragon with the capsule up to the space station, you know, weeks ago. And it was all in, you know, everything was videotaped. It was amazing to watch, and like nobody gave a shit.
Yeah.
No. You know what I mean? Like nobody cared. And I was like, man, like it kind of made me sad because of, like, you know, back at the 60s, everyone sat around the TV and would watch, you know, the moon landing like it was literally, and it was. I mean, it was
I
we
think
should be taking. Yeah, go ahead.
Say it,
I think
Joe.
it's
it was the shit.
It was the shit.
I think it's now a result of two things. One, distractions. Oh, I'd rather watch Jersey Shore than see the SpaceX go up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And two, there is in some scenarios a conflicting event or sequence of events that may, you know, I'm talking about like climate change and stuff like that. Also, you know, asteroidal impacts or whatever, COVID, whatever, you know. COVID times 2. COVID 2.
Airborne Ebola. Let's call that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you really want a pandemic? Yeah, fucking, you'll get it.
Airborne Ebola.
Everyone thinks this is a bad year. Wait till the Ebola starts going into the air.
What? No, just kidding.
The what? Yes. Yes.
I love that meme.
It's one of the few memes I can literally see being said.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry.
I don't laugh, but that came out of nowhere, bro.
No, you're right about the. I mean,
it's also.
Can I ask you? Well, hold on.
Yeah.
About the
hold
Mars
on.
thing, like I have such a problem with the Mars thing because I feel that if there was any opportunity of doing that type of stuff, we got to go back to the moon first before we go to the Mars again.
We are.
I know.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, like, we could be like, it only takes a few days to get to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
It takes months to get to Mars. So we could be building a moon base right now, and it wouldn't be that crazy. And it would be a good experience. You'd be able to test astronauts to be like, yo, can you even handle putting the suit on and going outside?
Yeah.
Can we train on the moon and then prep them to go to Mars? Like, it seems
also helium-3.
That's some nerd shit I don't understand, but I believe you.
Okay.
Is that the ice under the moon?
No. It's just you could like it's literally lying on the surface of the moon, and you can use it for fusion reactors.
Fusion, yeah.
Interesting.
And you could just like farm it, send it down with a rocket, blow it into a fusion reactor, make energy, and the waste of it would be just helium, which just floats into space, and you don't have any waste.
What a better launching pad than the moon, you know? Like
next thing, yeah.
You know, because I mean, you don't need any. Well, you don't need nearly as much fuel to hit escape orbit. So it seems when it comes, like, I understand the Mars thing because it's what it is. It's because it's so far away, and it's in our nature. We want to go grab it. It's kind of messed up because it's almost as if, like, well, we already went to the moon. We've already conquered that. Well, it's like, yeah, but you know, it has been a few decades. Yeah, we're not done. I just feel that we need to be playing with the moon a little bit more before we start sending people for months, months,
or the rest
Mars.
of their life.
Yeah, pretty much. You could have an emergency on the moon and get a taxi back. at this stage or the next few years. That's not even going to be, but
also,
Mars, you're going to die if something goes wrong.
Yeah. Also imagine how kind. I mean, I'm downplaying it, and I'm like the armchair quarterback here, but your Americans flew to the moon with like a Game Boy,
Basically,
calculator,
yeah, and now it's like, I don't know, it's I think it's a bit easier, yeah. And yeah, as you said, there's only advantages to build like a spaceport on the moon for further explorations. Yeah. And what I wanted to add is that space exploration always like how can I say, like sped up technological in inventions that get used like in everyday life. Like
the technologies they discover from space.
Yeah. Like all the patents that then get to the public. Like the best, I think the best example is like power tools. They're only a result because of someone said, hey, there are no power sockets in space. We need to get like a driller with its own power supply.
Battery,
yeah. And someone made that.
Yeah, that's right.
Made a patent, and it got to the public, and now you can go to, we call it Obi. What do you guys call it? Where you
Home Depot, Lowe's.
Home Depot, yeah. And
Home
now
Depot.
Home Depot. and now everyone has a space driller.
I
use them every day at work.
Mike, when you look at Mars, what do you personally I'm gonna kind of narrow this down. Like, instead of the whole discovery thing, which I totally empathize with, like that it's like in our blood. Like, we want, that's one of the, there's not a lot left outside of the bottom of the ocean for us to really go exploring on Earth. And Mars is like the new frontier, so to speak.
Right.
So that search for adventure is important. Outside of that, what would your goal be for Mars outside, instead of, because it's not going to be like, hey, we're going to build a city and everyone's going to move there in a year.
Right.
What would you like, would you think of, like, what would your steps be in terms of prioritizing Mars? Like, if we were to send one if we were to send a shuttle up there, regardless of size and what's in the shuttle, that's up to you. For example, like, what would you do in that first mission to Mars? What would you?
First mission to Mars, I would probably. I've been watching a bit of Netflix shows that involve Mars lately. So, my opinion, I would probably send 2 supply ships first. Make sure they land successly.
So all the supplies gets there before the people?
Like a backup and then the main one. Because,
gotcha.
Who knows?
A redundancy, for sure.
And then send a crew. Because here's one issue in terms of getting to Mars. That would be the biggest experiment on how we behave in space in terms of humans. We don't, we're out of any type of atmosphere. We don't know. God forbid a fucking solar flare goes by. Everybody on that ship's gone. If it's a really bad one. Your bone mass drops significantly. It's like 10%, but
it's enough. Like, the guys up at the space station are losing it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They've always got to be working out because of gravity.
Right. So there's that. So let's say everything goes according to plan, right? Both ships land, and then the ship lands with the crew and whatnot.
Yep.
set up base. I would probably ideally like to land near a robot that's already there, just in case. Who the fuck knows? You might need a wire out of there. Who knows?
Smart.
So hang out by that.
Someone is watching The Martian.
Well, The Martian, there's a new show that's getting pulled oddly called Mars. And it has clips with Elon. It's really good. Watch one episode.
Okay.
Anyway, so there's that. Why it's so important, one, we know that there was water on Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, it's in an extremely salty fashion. Salt Bay. And wouldn't be in any way.
I let that one slip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next one, I'm calling the police. Go on.
So, obviously, the water being there at one point in time is super compelling. Going there, God forbid we dig and we find like a fossil or something. Bruh.
Wouldn't that be a motherfucker?
Bruh. And because then we, figure out, because I watched a show recently called Alien Worlds. I briefly brought it up with Jörg. If you have the chance to watch any episode, there's 5 episodes, watch the last one. It's really good. But they talk about how water and gases and just the planet being geothermally active. Sorry, I can't talk. With water, you're almost guaranteed some sort of life to it. Now, if we think about it, Mars is a little further away from the sun. And when it had water, the sun was actually not as powerful as it is, if I'm not mistaken, because as the sun gets older, the sun starts to kind of go like this. Bigger and bigger, until it swallows the first 3 planets in the sun. And then it explodes, and then we're all gone. But we're probably dead by then anyway, because that's like billions of years from now, right? So take necessarily that out of the equation. I'm curious to, I guess, I don't know if we'll ever know, but what the temperature was on the planet, what the the atmosphere looked like. We can. It'll take a while, but we could probably, terraform it in some way, because we will, need to leave Earth at some point. Because the sun is going to get to a point where it is too big, and God forbid something happens to the Earth, we're not fucking on one planet. We just need to be mobile and flexible, adapt to the situation that we're in. And I think if we're already there, one, we'll learn a lot, obviously, about how to get there and get in and out,
So would you be so in the sense of because it still sounds like you want to go to Mars with a shovel, which is exactly what I want to do. I want to go to Mars with a big land drill, and I want to dig.
Yeah.
I just want to dig down as far as I can and see what's under there. But that's you know what I mean? That's the discrepancy here. It's like you go to this new planet, you just want to learn about it, but if you're also on the other hand doing it out of necessity or for the future's sake, wouldn't it be, it's hard to manage the interest of discovery. I mean, obviously if you have enough people, there could be guys doing science work and then the guys building obviously.
Yeah.
But how do you get for people to live there? We need to figure out how to get water. We have to do that. We need to know how do you grow plants inside? It's that's it's so tricky because it's
the terraforming part of it in finalization.
I loved Elon's premise where he's like, let's just nuke the polar.
The pole. See what happens.
And I was like, God damn it, let's do it. Like, I think we should send some dudes there to maybe like dig first, then make them leave, and then nuke it, and then come back. Hopefully, because who knows?
Right.
But watch the geth come out of the ground and start coming to Earth.
That's a very how can I say it? A very American way of exploration. Let's go somewhere, drop some bombs.
Yeah.
Let's see what's left.
You have oil.
Let's see what this planet's made of, bro.
Yeah. Science the shit out of it.
We're gonna science the shit out of Mars.
Yeah, with
this is just
bombs.
Yeah. It's an interesting.
I would love to see that. I would love to see
everybody
it.
Would love to see that.
Yeah,
I think it's an interesting flex where he's like, "Well, we'll just initiate greenhouse gases on a apocalyptic scale and to start because it's like, well, okay, we need to get an atmosphere.
Yes.
That would be super helpful, and not only to survival but protection. If you can create an atmosphere on Mars, you can shield yourself from those comets or meteors or whatever.
I think there is. I think there is.
That would be my first thing. I mean the shovel part is bueno, yeah.
Yes.
But it would be easier when you have the environment for it, yeah, and how can I say it? Our planet's fucked enough already to try out any geoengineering stuff. I mean at some point I think it will be necessary if we go on this road, but I would rather prefer it to like make tryouts on a planet where aren't as much people. So Mars would be like really good. Maybe plant some algae and stuff there, and then drop some H bombs. I don't know. Do whatever and see what comes out of it, right? And maybe then take up the shovel and see what is like in
it's a lot easier to. It's a lot easier to work when you got a full belly. So it's. I mean,
and breathable air.
And when you don't have to wear like a Space Marine suit and have a car. For
right. Yeah.
I would gladly dress up as a Space Marine.
Here comes the urge to purge.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah. I mean.
So, how will Neuralink help with this?
I don't know if it will. Well, because here's the thing, right? I think we have really two options. We either.
I think we have more.
Okay, it's fine. Okay, just hear me out.
No, well, start with two.
Yeah.
We have the Neuralink AI route where we just decide to become computers. Because here's the thing: in reality, are humans obsolete in terms of how we are built? Because we don't last long in space. Machines really don't either. But
longer than humans.
Right, a little longer than humans.
Yeah.
And it necessarily won't go against the rules if there are rules set in place.
I guess you'd have to define obsolete in the sense of is it just our lifespan that's obsolete? Because that whole machine human interconnectivity is I feel we always got to be a little bit cautious about that, because it's like I think we take a little bit too much pride in the little technological things. Like we should be proud that we made smartphones, but it's really not that special in the big scheme of things. Like nature doesn't give a flying fuck about your cell phone.
Right.
And I don't want to downplay it, but I think we don't give ourselves enough credit on a natural thing. I mean, think about it. Like we're the only animal on a planet that actually knows how to build a spaceship.
Yeah.
Or at least there's like 10 dudes in the world that know how to build spaceships. You know what I mean? So it's a weird thing where it's like, if all machines are going to do is extend our life, cool, that sounds great. But and this is something that I've tried to delve into a lot with in the music realm, is like, what part are you going to end up losing with that transfer?
Yeah.
And is it worth it? Is it really worth it? Like, do you really want to become a machine?
Yeah.
Like, is our definition of what a machine is our definition of what a machine, or what is a machine, correct? Or is it, like, I always refer back to, like, go look at 1960s sci-fi art and see
Yeah.
what they thought the world was going to be like in 50 years.
Right.
And it's hilarious.
And
it's hilarious. It's
Yeah.
not even close. It's like, it's not even close. So we always got to be careful with, like, where we're thinking about, like, what's the world going to be in 30 years. It's like, well, that's what makes us interesting, because we are very creative, but I don't know if it's going to be what we think it is. It could be small little integration after integration after integration until 100 years goes by and you're like, oh shit, look at my robot hand. I was born with it. This is cool. It's like, it's not even a big deal anymore. It's like, once again, it's like, how do people that grew up, or how are people that grew up with the internet and know nothing else, know anything about before that?
Yeah.
They can't. It's
Libraries.
Yeah, I
Right.
suppose.
Yeah.
So there is a generational, with technology moving kind of slow. Like, technology moves fast in the micro aspect, but in the macro, it's a slow process. It takes us decades to do things.
Right.
Not to digress too much. I mean, I just feel that it's. I wanted to kind of bring that up when you mentioned obsolescence.
That's a point I wanted to say also, because it is it isn't. I think it is less important on getting to the goal and getting to the target. It's also very important on how we are going to get to the goal. And when we say, as a race, as a whole species, sorry, to, like, okay, let's all turn into machines because it's easier to space travel, we leave behind a crucial point on our whole, like, identity, because then we are not humans anymore.
Can I
whatever
ask
that
you?
means.
Can I ask both of you?
Yeah.
No.
What do you think?
Oh.
Hard pass on that.
Hard pass, bro.
Yeah, no.
I'm calling the
bring
police.
it.
The
God damn it, getting swatted again.
if can the things that can there be machines? Can humans adopt machines while retaining specific human traits? In the sense of, can a human, let's say, adopt technology to a point where they become, let's say, more mechanical than they are human? Are they still going to know what love is, or are they still going to know what empathy is? Are they still going to know what are they still going to know what hate is? Are they still going to know what anger is like? All the human traits. Now, all of our traits obviously have pros and cons, but I think a lot of those things are evolved through culture versus technology. Technology influences culture, but culture is what drives us and how we think. Let's say we went 50-50, half man, half machine type shit. Do you think those human traits can still coexist with that? What would that term be? Transcendence, so to speak.
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean. I think I cannot put down a number like 50-50, but I think as long as there is a kind of like a mortality to it, which is like which fuels basic human programming.
Did you say mortality or immortality?
Mortality.
Mortality, got it.
As long
as we still
we
able
know,
to die. Yep.
Yeah, 'cause
there will be an end. We have a motivation to do things and to be disciplined with the time, that we have. Yeah, because and also not only talking about like my mortality, also like health, like I have to watch out for my body because it contains my spirit and my psyche, and which brings me to the next point. Also, my mental health is very important. Yeah, because when I can upload it somewhere and make a backup and say like, okay, I got crazy like in this and this year, I just reboot and
you load up an old saved file.
yeah, of course. I think this makes this is a huge part of our humanity and our motivation. Yeah. So I think we can like exchange like limbs because we already do this. Yeah. Out of necessity. I mean, look at, I don't know, like veterans.
The prosthetic arms they have, little where their fingers are moving and everything. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And this tech is getting more and more like refined and intricate, and then it's just a matter of time when it's like when it will be used not only for people that sadly lost a limb, but also like people who, I don't know, maybe
upgrade it.
Maybe
it's good enough where it's actually an upgrade.
Yeah, or maybe for people who want to, like, I don't know, work in construction or
forums never get tired, baby. Hammer all day long.
I don't know. Yeah, you name it.
What do you think, Mike?
It's really, I'm kind of torn on the subject because I question if it's not what we're supposed to do in terms of, hey, how are humans actually going to evolve? Like, let's say nothing bad ever happened. Let's say no existential extinction event would happen in the next 100,000 years, maybe even more, right?
Okay.
What would a human look like? First of all, are we I question if we're supposed to integrate with AI, because I almost see more possible routes for it's tricky because, you say, oh, I think there's more options for us surviving longer when we have AI and, Neuralink and all this kind of stuff. Almost similar, unfortunately I have to say it, like a hive mind kind of thing, where it's like, okay, we're all kind of here, right? And, well, I don't know. It's tricky.
Well, it'd be like an internalized internet, so to speak. But
right.
How if the technology were to elongate our lives, it would be mostly in the medical field. So
indeed,
if Neuralink, Neuralink, when it was, I'm not I haven't been keeping up on it very much. I'm just kind of waiting for the first the visual
first trial.
That's
the great keynote.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, like, if, like, what is Neuralink going to do for us that's not simply convenience? Like,
sure.
if I can blink my eyes and make a phone call faster, like, did we evolve really, or did we just find
what about the people
faster
who can't see?
Okay, well, that kind of goes back to what Jörg said about, disabilities. Like, if Neuralink can, you even see the videos of people that are colorblind that get these special glasses, you can see color for the first time. It's like, It's pretty amazing that we could do that. Kids
Yeah.
that are born that can't hear, and then they get the cochlea implant on the side of their head, and all of a sudden they can hear. It's like that's magical stuff. But
Totally.
Neuralink, what is Neuralink supposed to do? Like what is it?
Well, here's another.
As long as I cannot like switch places with another person, so that another person can see and feel my point of view, to like maximize empathy between people or between a group of people, and I can switch it on and off. Yeah, I think everything else, Neuralink would just be a gimmick. Like when I blink with my eyes, then I make a phone call or a video call, and so on and so forth. Yeah, I mean that's like a really great gimmick, and I don't need this with me anymore because it's in my brain, and I can see all the data and blah blah blah. But I still have to like operate, and it doesn't make a difference if I use my finger and make this, or if I have to really think hard of the WhatsApp to go on, and then I have to think of the message, and have to type it in my brain. Yeah, it would be just like a little bit faster, but that's like a diminished return because I have to like get operated and get a chip in my brain to write my WhatsApp faster. Yeah. So, Mike, you said something about a hive mind. A hive mind is like really.
It's a little more dystopian, kind of.
Yeah, many people think about like Bohr Collective and shit. Yeah, I think more of like, I don't know, like I turn my Bluetooth on and off.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and instead of like sitting here with you two guys, which I very much enjoy, I can just turn on my Neuralink, and you people can instantly think what I think. Like,
could you imagine how boring that podcast would be? We'd all be sitting there lumped over in our chairs drooling, but we'd be in mid-conversation.
Okay, guys, my point on Neuralink is, you get it? Yeah?
Get it?
And you both would say yes.
Well,
yeah,
Elon even said, okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Just before I lose it again.
Yeah.
Before I lose it again. So that's the difference between like a technological advantage and a gimmick. Yeah, because we now can do something for this abstract thing that we call empathy. Yeah, another person can literally walk in my shoes and like have the feeling of my experiences and really see where my struggles are. Yeah, so this is like a really good baseline for when we have like discussions. Yeah, that would be a great thing.
My first reaction was like, I'm not sure I want to know. Like, I don't know if that, like, part of me feels like that would be exhausting to be able to pop into other people's shoes. Like, it would be so, I don't know if our brains can you know, that's once again, I don't know how Neuralink's gonna adjust your eyesight.
For
you know,
this,
like
this huge amount of data, we need some kind of compression and compensators and stuff, because we would just, I don't know, fry our brain and shit. But I think that would be a crucial point, and that would bring ultimately bring individuals, and in the end, hopefully, like all of humanity, like closer to together, because you know, if you just go online now and social media, and check out this cesspool that is a comment section, like people are just opening a door, throwing in their opinion, saying fuck you, and close it again. It would be much more constructive and much more unifying, if you could not only read another guy's point of view, but also experience it somehow, because then you would maybe, I don't mean you when I say you, then
sure,
but one would maybe think twice about writing shit out there,
Mm.
and maybe saying, okay, I know now where it comes from. And okay, you're afraid of this because this and that. Yeah. So let's now talk it out, because we have the same set of information, not only like factual stuff, but also like feelings and experiences. Yeah. And a lifetime of experience, it takes a lifetime. Yeah. And now we can trade it in an instant. Yeah. And I think for this, Neuralink would be very, very interesting. Also, like for, I don't know, psychological research.
Yeah.
You could take your I don't have to worry, like test subjects and experience how they experience the world. Like when people have, I don't know, insert any type of psychological.
Use PTSD. It's easy.
Yeah,
You know.
you can really, really experience it now, if you want that. I mean, it would like really be like really enjoyable. But you could research it finally, yeah, and you don't have to sit down like hundreds of hours and make interviews and documentations and decipher it. You could literally feel what is going inside of the head of the other person. Yeah, the thing is, like I said before, you need first for this, you need regulations. Like, what do you do with the data you can extract with the Neuralink stuff? So, and now I talked a lot. Sorry, Mike.
No worries.
Those are my points. I think it would be really cool to have, but I think we have to go through some iterations until we see how we can use it productively.
Sure. So, with Neuralink, I think, I'm pretty sure I told both of you. I was diagnosed with Asperger's at a younger age.
Yeah.
And I'm very curious to see if it has any type of effect on how people think. Not like, dystopian vibes, but like, it's really weird.
Could the analogy be like it's Neuralink could help somebody the same way a pacemaker helps someone with a bad heart?
Sure, something like that. I'm curious to see if there's any type of, any type of significant, compelling data that says, hey, this helps in these certain situations. Because that was one of the things, Elon wanted. He said, you'll be able to do literally telepathy with people. Like, literally, we don't have, like, if we were in the same room, we don't have to talk. We'll be in a shared network and we can just communicate. That's
but like also super fast. Like, you don't have to think words into your thumbs, type them, send them.
Yeah.
The other guy has just to read them, interpret them, because that's the thing, right. Just because the other person writes it.
Man, I would be talking mad shit in silence to everybody.
Of course, you could do a lot of bullshit with it, right? Yeah. But also think of like in the medicine area, when you just go to the doctor, and you just don't feel good, you can just switch it on. The doctor switches it on. He is literally in your body and he's like, okay, I got the common cold.
He just scans your barcode. He's like, and here's your
bodily
diagnosis.
signs saying
because I could imagine that doctors that got like the Neuralink get trained with patients to know how certain diseases and a certain stuff feels like, so they can diagnose you like really fast and know like, okay, this is the flu, this is some type of COVID, blah blah blah, and so on and so forth, and you don't really have to go to the doctor per se. You just phone him up and say, hey, can I just check out my body like really quick because I don't feel good. Yeah. And he's like, okay, let's just trade places.
It's so hard to explain to a doctor what feels wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like, I feel sick. Well, what does that mean? Well, then you add a bunch of descriptors, and then he's like, that sounds like this. Here, take up this medicine.
Yeah.
You know,
and you can just eliminate this false info. False.
Speculate. Speculated
you
info.
just trade places for short, and because like a good practitioner knows how certain stuff feels. Yeah.
I think the medical field would be probably, I mean, just talking about this out loud, it seems like the medical field's going to be the first guys to use it. I think if Neuralink shows up, it's going to be therapists.
It would make sense.
I think I have a feeling it would hit that market before the population would get it. Interesting.
You think if there's anything
what was that video with the pig?
That was the first test. That was the first test of it.
I saw a little bit about that. I didn't.
Yeah, but that's so abstract.
You know, it's a piggy.
For me, even it was so abstract.
It's like, look at these lines of code. It's like, or this screen graphs or whatever. It's like, all right, what does that mean? The pig's happy. Okay. The pig wants to eat. Okay.
I would be like, this snare sounds like shit. It would look like this.
Does your snare look like this?
Does your snare look like this? It's just a trash can. Or what are those? They're not soccer balls. Remember those rubber balls we would kick around?
Sure.
In when we were little kids. The sound they made when they slapped in the concrete. It's funny how snares nowadays sound a lot like that.
This high plastic.
So it sounds like a big rubber band getting snapped. Anyways.
Kickball. Well, we've discussed Neuralink and a little bit of AI, so I think we've covered that area nicely.
What do you think is going to come first, like basic AI or something like Neuralink?
I think we already have AI.
Yeah.
Just look at Google.
Yeah. So you think the machine will just get more advanced before it gets embedded with organic material?
I think it's just gonna, because Google's just collecting all the information, and in reality, they're just gonna make a mean of all of this information on how it should act, I guess, in certain situations.
Yeah.
It's just gonna outpace us, and it is gonna be tricky for us to, if it gets ahead of us too much, to recover. I guess you just pull the plug on Google. Yeah.
Terminator.
Going to CERN.
Or as I like to call it, Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator. Did you tell him that?
Say it as wrong as possible.
Say movie titles.
This is a game we're playing in my band, and in my circle of friends is like, hey, do you know this band? And say it like really wrong. Yeah. Someone said.
Yeah.
Someone said. Asked me, hey, you have this podcast with this guy from the band called Mechina.
Oh man, I've heard that one before too.
I hope so, because it's
I
really
hope
obvious.
so. It looks like it too.
Mechina. And I was like, yeah, I mean, by the way, it's called Mechina, but you go.
Yeah,
You're places, man.
Oh boy.
That's funny.
Mechina.
Cat fight? Cat fight?
Show the cat fight. My money's on the black one. Last famous words.
Okay.
Oh god.
Oh god.
Rip, rip camp.
Yeah, right. Oh god. So I guess we can transition now to talked about
Smooth segue
monoliths.
again.
What's that?
Smooth segue again.
Smooth bro, I'm
Next topic, bro.
next
No, it's all
topic.
good.
Next
We-
topic.
You should
We
just
have
have a
to
bullet.
make
You
good
should have
time.
a dry erase board right to
I
your
think I'm
left,
put one like over
and you
here, yeah.
and
like
just
over
start
here.
crossing off. All right.
Moving
Next
on.
chapter.
I just painted this wall actually. It had a bunch of fixed it up.
Yeah, you did a
Anyway.
good job. It
Yeah.
matches your monitors.
What's that?
It matches your monitors.
Well,
Looks
I'm
good.
going for black, white, and red. That's the colors I've decided on.
I have something to kind of ramble about. I mean, not that it really
No, go ahead. Let it go.
affects me, but okay.
It'll feel
So I like movies. Like a lot. Yeah,
Yeah.
liked it until I got a child because now I don't have the time to watch movies anymore. So, and you know, like 10 years ago, this whole Marvel Disney thing started, where they made like the series of movies, and they're all intertwined and stuff. And now they're going batshit crazy on the Disney Plus with 20 new Star Wars series and 50 new Marvel. I don't know how much, but it's like a lot of content. Yeah. And I know from my days of collecting comic books how complex this story thing can go. Like if you want to know like the whole extent of certain stories, you don't it's not enough to like buy one series of comics,
right.
but also like it's not enough when you
It's like people that see movies, and it's like, well, if you want the full experience, you got to go through the books. Like, there's so many details that are
Yeah.
left
Yeah,
out and stuff
kinda.
like that.
kind of like that, but it's within one medium, like
Gotcha.
uh
Gotcha.
I don't know, if you wanna have like the full experience of the Infinity War, like before it got squashed into a movie. You had like the main comic book, and then you had like Infinity War Captain America and Infinity War Hulk and Infinity War blah blah blah. Yeah, so you had like the same event but from different perspectives, and then you
Sure.
had the main book and so on and so forth. And they kind of make the same thing now with like movies and series. So if you want to understand like Marvel's Infinity War and Endgame, you have to see all the movies because
Yeah.
Infinity War is a culmination of it. And I think to this point, because I didn't want to watch stuff like Captain Marvel and what was it before? I think it was Black Panther. Because I'm not so interested in those heroes. Yeah, I was
Yep.
like, okay, I really want to watch Infinity War, but they make me watch. Oh damn it! They make me. Sorry,
I noticed
stars
that.
went out. Yeah, and they're back again. And they make me watch these other two movies, and not they just make me watch because I like to go to the cinema back in the days.
Yeah, back in the days.
Remember
Dude.
Places?
Yeah, there were different places. We paid money and watched movies. It was great, simpler times. So I had to go there and pay money, and then I finally got the whole experience and blah blah blah. And this now is the next greater iteration of it, and not only for Marvel stuff, but also for like Star Wars. And I am kind of afraid, kind of, it's not that important. That it's like creating a trend with it, so that it's always like, if you want to have the full experience, you have to like commit a significant portion of your life and consume all the extra content, so you get the
Right.
whole experience. Yeah.
It's probably, I think some of that has to do with, well, they know how they can cash out. They know
Yeah.
how to make, they
Well,
know how to,
course.
you know, what's more profitable
Yeah.
is 10 mediocre movies that are just good enough to fill seats, or one really good movie. It's like those 10 movies are going to make you tons of more money. You know, there's a lot of people in the art industry that their whole job is to do everything but the art, which is the money, you know, the
Yeah. Yeah.
executive producers and stuff like that. So they're looking at like, well, we need an investment, or we need return on investment.
Yeah.
So they've probably realized like, hey, we can make way more money by, you know, constantly never stop filming. So as soon as one movie's done, they just keep
franchising.
going. Yeah.
Yeah. I
Oh.
mean, don't get me wrong. I really enjoy like huge concepts and um multimedial content, like stuff, I don't know, like stuff like Your Band or stuff like Destiny, where you have a game and then this online uh, archive and extra books and yada yada yada. And if you work through all of this, yeah, then you get not like the full experience, but added experience.
Sure.
Yeah, because I can play Destiny and never go online and read the archives and never buy a single Destiny book and still understand the story and still what it's about. It's still know what it's about. Yeah, and with this over franchising, I'm making a word now, of popular stuff like Marvel and Star Wars, yeah, you are forcing people to watch all the stuff even though they're not interested in it, yeah, and they're giving away precious time. I mean, all time is precious, yeah. And I'm afraid that for I mean for the sake of art, that this kicks off a trend, and now everything has to be like this, like overly
Long form. Everything
forced.
has to be extra long
Yeah,
form.
Yeah.
and overly forced, interconnected. Yeah,
Mm.
because yeah, as I said, um I wasn't so interested in like Captain Marvel, and when I watched what was the last one, Endgame.
Yeah. Endgame.
I watched Endgame, I was like, I feel like I'm missing something. And then I watched Captain Marvel, and I was like, oh, okay, that was it. Yeah,
Okay.
I see. I
Okay.
see.
yeah.
Well,
So
this could come down to it could come down to um your senses might be picking up a sense of dishonesty by the 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 expectation from the directors of the audience, because I think a lot of it, because a good story is a good story is a good story, you know, kind of regardless of its medium, whether it's
yeah,
audio, visual. And that's, you know, I always have these bitch fests about certain video games and stuff like that. It's like, you know,
you have a
it's
what?
a bitch fest
What is that?
where you're
What do you
just
mean?
complaining.
Ah, okay.
Uh, so it, you know, it's, you can, and I always I always go straight to Ubisoft is my go-to horse that I'm going to beat to death. Is they make these giant elaborate interconnected games that have no heart. They
Yeah,
there's a
Right.
weird sense of dishonesty in these
yeah.
games because they know what
It's
they're
hollow.
doing. They want they want the players to get hooked on a sequence and not they're going after the cheap way of getting interest, which is
Yeah,
momentary, whether, you know, like those looter shooter games, and movies are analogous to this too, where it's like, you know, the the quantity has a quality all its own. So when you dump a bunch of, I always use like Borderlands as a great example of a game that has a good sense of heart and a good loop of interest, like a gameplay loop where
yeah.
you kind of get
And
hooked on it. And then,
a
but
good
there's good,
sense of humor.
yeah. And then but if you don't have a good story, or if you're not writing anything, the mask slips and you kind of see it for what it is, usually after the fact. And then you kind of feel like you were lied to, not like facetiously, but you were like,
Yeah, I feel cheated.
yeah, a little bit. I get it. I empathize with that. It's hard to write good stories. If it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
Yeah.
Problem is, it's like it's uh, I don't know if it has to do with our attention spans or what's dudes up in the upper echelons of these companies that the suits, so to speak, are thinking that the audience should get. You'd be surprised at how much stuff gets dictated up top. That's why there's director's cuts of movies, because higher ups were like telling the director his artistic idea is not that extra 30 minutes of whichever Lord of the Rings was too much. It was too much after 3.5 hours. And surprisingly enough, most of the director's cuts are objectively better than the ones you saw in the movie theater. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of layers to that, where your grievance is obviously correct, but I think I think there's a lot of things involved that are you're hitting that dichotomy of business and art. Like, where's the
Of course it's called movie business.
Sure.
But I think the ideal outcome would be like I don't know, 50-50 business art. Yeah. And it's more and more tilting into the business side of things. Yeah. And the art gets defended less and less. Yeah. And more than often I have the feeling when I see like AAA titles, I've already seen that movie, and now I'm seeing it again, but now it's not zombies, it's aliens. Just
yeah
you know. And then again, I feel a bit cheated. Yeah, because I was like, hey, this we've seen that the last time. Yeah, it's same CG stuff and exchangeable actors, and nothing is brave anymore.
A lot of things are predictable.
Yeah.
You see that
very
with
predictable.
shows, and I always use The Walking Dead as a perfect example of predictability. I always know when the zombie's about to bust through the door. Like at a point you're like, oh, the
Where's
music
the
stopped.
zombies?
I wonder. Yeah, the music
Yeah,
stopped.
I wonder when. There
happen.
they are.
Oh, I have a really good sense of when I'm about to get jump scared.
Yeah.
Like in a game or a movie where
totally.
things get really quiet, and then to scare the audience, they have to cut the sound and then blast something. Not because the scene's scary, it's because the sound is abrupt. But they use that because they can't write a scary part. They were like, well, we'll just jump scare them. It's cheap. It's a cheap trick. There was, I had a friend hit me up on Facebook not long ago, and he was asking about the single that I just did, and he asked me how I promote, and I was kind of like, I gave him a typical Joe response, which is like, I just do a few things and then just kind of whatever. No, I don't really. Once I'm done with an album, the last thing I want to do is put a tie on and start doing crazy business shit with it. I kind of just let it go. And he sends me a link to a company that he uses for his stuff. He's like, he said, like, this is how I use this. This might be a good opportunity to get loyal followers. And I immediately hit him back. I was like, if you want loyal followers, just be honest in your don't try to pull fast ones on people, and they'll remember that. And if you write, like, for example, write honest music, and don't be trying to follow whatever's let's say, in season,
Popular,
so to speak.
trendy.
And that obviously sounds like, this conversation's been had for a while, but it's like it goes deeper than, and it's much more specific to an individual than you think. The music industry is not just this blanket thing that applies to everybody. You have one disgruntled band member in your band, your whole music business careers changes. And it's very individualistic in that sense. So
it's also like people smell
their bullshit meters are on high alert.
Yes. I mean, when you have people that are like, okay, I'm just having any music on in the background, so I just don't feel alone. They don't matter. People who are like, okay, I'm listening to music actively and I'm following different projects actively. They sense in a millisecond when your art is a product and when your art is art. And when it's like honest, when it's like with the intent, okay, the artist cares about himself and cares about what he or she likes or the band likes, and they just do it. And when you don't like it, then it's not for you. Then you can go to any other of the 150,000 bazillion projects out there, and you will find your fit. They kind of smell it, and
I get your grievance, man. I understand. I get your grievance. I think I watched one of the Avengers movies, and then they started just pumping them out every 6 months. I was like, I can't care. I can't.
What? Okay. Two questions. What movies were you watching lately? And with lately, I mean like the last 10 years.
Okay.
Where you were like, wham, that's the shit. And it wasn't a franchise.
It wasn't a franchise?
Yeah, try it. Or like a huge franchise. Dang, today I've read they're franchising Alien.
Yes, I did see that. Yes, I did.
God damn it.
It breaks my heart. I don't, man. So I always get made fun of this, but I always bring it up. I think Avatar was a really good movie experience. Absolutely. Like, everyone can talk about it being like, oh, this is Dances with Wolves. It's like, yeah, we know, but put the glasses on and see it in 3D and IMAX, and you're gonna start crying because your body's never experienced anything like that before. I remember seeing Avatar 3 times in the movie theater because I couldn't get my brain around what I was seeing at the time.
Technologically, it was mind blowing.
Yeah, and it wasn't a bad movie. I mean, I watched it just on my.
It's a great story.
Yeah, I watched it on my computer like a year ago, just hanging out, and I was like, I wonder if this still holds up. And lo and behold, boy, it still holds up. It still has better CGI than a lot of movies out today, which is astonishing.
Yeah, right.
It's almost a decade old.
Yeah,
it's over a decade old, I think.
Yeah, 2009, 2009. Yeah. And the new ones are coming out soon. I'm very curious to see how, they basically shot like the last 4.
Okay.
And they're just gonna come out
boom,
like
boom,
that.
Boom.
Yeah.
Speaking of franchise, fun side story. I always like to tell. You know that the ex-wife of the name who made Avatar.
James Cameron.
Yeah, his ex-wife is also a director, right?
Oh, really? Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, a directress.
Yeah, she worked on him. She worked with him on Terminator 2 and Aliens. I think she was. She worked with him.
But in the year where Avatar and her movie were nominated, and her movie was Hurt Locker. The bomb technicians.
Yep.
You know who won Best Movie?
Yeah.
Hurt Locker.
Yeah.
Hurt Locker was a good movie, though.
Yeah,
that was
Hurt
a good
Locker
movie.
Was so great. Don't get me wrong, guys. As an American anti-war movie, it was really reflected and a really good anti-war movie.
I always appreciate realism in war movies. It's because war itself is unreal. So when you give it,
it was so not spectacular, and that made it spectacular.
Yep.
Yeah, you don't have this, like, I don't know.
There's not 15 helicopters like landing.
Yeah.
There's a giant gunfight. It was a dude crawling through dirt looking to disarm a bomb.
And
you know,
and
how uncomfortable that was.
You have units of guys just walking slowly on the streets, securing doorway after doorway in a very tedious way, because in every window every person can be a combatant, and so on and so forth. And with this uneventfulness, that was the true horror of this movie. Like, the scene where they were like ambushed and they lay in the desert with a 50 cal for a day.
Right. Yeah.
Nothing happened. They were like, bam, shooting the other guy, and they were like, is he dead? I don't know. He's a kilometer out there. He maybe can lie there and watch us. Or he's dead. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not a spectacular John Wick gunfight. It's more of a realistic gunfight, in a war zone. I grew up when I was a little boy. I watched Saving Private Ryan in the theater when it came out in like '96, and I remember that movie being just like so astonishingly brutal right off the bat that I think that's where I got my interest in realism when it comes to that stuff. I really respected the hell out of it. That World War I movie that just came out like a year or two ago.
Was it called Kirk?
Not Dunkirk.
Dunkirk.
Not Dunkirk.
You mean
the one where
it's one-shot movie.
Yep. Yeah. What was that called? It was pretty good.
I don't know.
Maybe not good enough to remember, but it was clever. It was clever. That one-shot movie was pretty interesting. I think I was drunk when I saw it. That's why I don't remember. Rare occasion.
Hold On to Privates. It's called 1917.
Oh, shit. That's probably why I forgot it. It's like, well, I remember it being in 1917. Oh.
Oh.
Dun dun dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
There it is. So,
movie.
I'm gonna hit the restroom real quick, guys. I'll be right back. I gotta empty my bladder. Be right back.
Good luck, have fun.
I sort of have to as well, but
just piss yourself. You're the host. You cannot go.
All right, fine. Jamie, get me a bucket. I have a movie, but it's an anime. So
that's not a movie.
Oh, it's a movie. I mean, it's a movie.
I'm joking, bro. For me, animated movies or anime, or you mean this Japanese?
It's a Japanese movie, yeah.
For me, of course, that is legit movie. But most people or many people you will find is like, yeah, like Princess Mononoke is just not a movie. That's a cartoon. Fuck you. Yeah. Okay, boomer.
You like cartoons? What are you, 5?
Oh, yeah, child.
Damn right.
Watch Ghost in a Shell or Akira. That
hell
shit is gory as hell.
Indeed.
Yeah. Or have you? Do you know? Dang, Netflix made a movie out of it, and now I have. But it was Korean. On Netflix, it's called Ilang.
But I don't know it.
The original animated movie from Japan is called. God damn it! The English title is The Wolf Brigade.
The Wolf Brigade. No, I'm not familiar with it.
Jinro.
Jinro?
Yeah, it's a Jin, then it's line,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
ROH.
Oh, here it is. Yeah.
This is like dystopian
Okay.
totalitarianism Japan.
Ah, okay.
You have this story between, and it's not really like a love story.
Sure.
Between this special units guy, which is called like the Wolf Brigade. They look really. They have this Nazi helmet and gas masks and full face, red eyes, and every one of them got a machine gun going, and they look really eerie.
Right.
Of course, wearing half a car as armor and stuff. And on the other hand, you have a lady from the resistance, and their fates kind of intertwine. And this is a kind of a. It's also very metaphoric to. What's the English title? Red Riding Hood, because it has to do.
Okay.
She often wears this red cape, and he is
Nice.
part of the Wolf Brigade, so he's the wolf.
Nice. I might give that a watch because I like that stuff.
You should. You really should. And also when you're finished with Jinro, you can watch the Netflix adaptation, which is a South Korean production. It's called Ilang. It's the same stuff and the same story, but it's not in Japan. It's in Korea.
Is it still good?
It's great.
It's great. Okay.
Production is great.
Cool.
It's not as stoic as the original animated movie. It has a different tone, but it looks great. It's a cool. It has great action sequences, of course. The story is also very, very heartfelt.
Cool.
I can only endorse it.
I'm into it.
How about that Mandalorian though?
Come my God, bro!
It's
the best show I've watched in a while.
You mean Mandalorian?
Yeah, Mandalorian. It's. Did you see the latest one?
No.
I've seen 5 episodes.
Wait, on season 1?
Season 2.
Okay, cool. Yeah, season 2 is like every week I'm standing up screaming and like. That's so
really good.
I mean, if to double back, I don't really care how much content there is as long as it's. And if this is a sign of things to come, where
there's a weekly output.
Yeah, this weekly schedule. Yeah.
It's exactly what we were talking about earlier. It's like if the content's good, if the writing's good,
yeah,
it's kind of it's all up from there.
Right.
If it's thing is, Mandalorian is rarely cheap. It's got the Star Wars goofiness to it, but it's not like there are scenes where it's kind of like, okay, nice, I see. Nothing.
Oh, Stormtrooper! He's knocked out immediately.
So bad. They can't shoot. It's so bad. It's almost as if they made the meat.
I think they did. Worse. I think they just totally encapsulated the whole shit story.
Hey, give these guys rifles with scopes, and they'll never use them.
They'll miss every shot.
Every shot.
Yeah.
But to now come back to where my favorite movie that I've seen in a very long time is actually an anime. So call it what you will or whatever.
Say it. What anime is it?
It's called Your Name. I told you to watch it. Remember?
Never watched it.
Never watched it. Excellent movie.
I don't follow recommendations.
Your Name.
It's just called Your Name.
And it's a movie?
Yeah, it's a movie. So it's by a director which I really like. Everyone's like, "Oh my God, Ghibli," but I'm like, "Bro, have you seen Shinkai?"
You sound like an anime fan.
I am, bro.
You just start naming random shit. You're like, what?
I am, bro.
No, it's okay. That's a compliment. I appreciate it. I know nothing about anime, so I just find it confusing to me because there's so much anime.
It indeed, and
There's so much. Those Japanese don't stop, man.
bro.
Yeah, there are a lot.
They're a lot, yeah.
A lot of people that can paint.
Yeah, I gotta get Crunchyroll because they got rid of Kiss Anime because the laws got stricter in Japan. So I gotta go get Crunchyroll now if I want to watch any type of anime.
Okay.
Big link.
What is Crunchyroll?
It's basically Netflix, but it's only anime.
Oh.
Only anime.
Crunchyroll?
Crunchyroll.
Okay. It's an interesting name. I'm just absorbing it.
I want a Crunchyroll now.
I was like, that's what I order
Sushi.
at the restaurant. Fuck.
Yeah.
Crunchyroll.
Remember restaurants?
I would say it feels a bit racist. Doesn't it?
I mean, I guess. I guess.
Listen, it's more. It just sounds. It sounds just stereotypical. It's like, of course, we're gonna call it something just blatantly like on the nose Japanese.
Yeah, but call it something cool like samurai sword, like katana or something.
That wouldn't be honest. At least the Crunchyroll's got like.
Everyone knows that.
Anime is so
everyone
goofy
likes
that it makes total sense. Anime is goofy. Well, some of it's goofy. I mean, it's anime.
Some of it's fucking,
cartoons are all goofy.
I mean,
not in a bad way. I'm just saying they're goofy.
Yeah. There are. I don't know, bro. There are a lot of anime series and movies which are like really, I would call it the high Japanese art. And really deep and well made, and also technically well made. Like especially when you go like to like really old ones like Akira or Ghost in the Shell, like old Ghost in the Shell, or what else is there?
Does anyone remember Japanimation?
I don't.
Okay, so when I was this must have been 1990.
I remember Toonami.
So back in the day, okay, here, listen to this
boomer.
All right, listen to this boomer shit. So when I was like 5-6 years old, I would at nighttime, there would be only 30 channels on the television, maybe.
Sure.
And there was one channel particularly that at like 11 o'clock midnight, Japanimation would come on, and that's what they called it, and they would just play but this was like hyper violent, hyper sexual stuff, and it was on cable television.
We had
interesting.
And this was 94, 95. This was before like this was like during Ren and Stimpy. You know, like the old Nickelodeon Beavis and Butthead, where they were like kind of testing the waters with, you know, how far cartoons can go.
Yeah.
And Japanimation would show up at like 11 o'clock at night, and they had this episode about like one of the atomic bomb attacks.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, and it was so. And as a little kid, 5-6 years old, just watching it, and I was like, "What is this? This is amazing."
Very scary.
This. But I was just so confused of how brutal it was. Just over. I mean, sex scenes and then just sword fights right afterwards, and you're just like, this is on television. This is amazing.
That is so great because we in Austria and also in Germany had exactly the same thing. There were like some cable stations that are kind of switched program in the middle of the night, like as you, Joe, said, like 11 or 12.
Once all the night shows were over with, if there was on. You know, this was before all that shit.
Okay, like I don't know, Hans, switch it, and they were like going there and boom, and all of a sudden there was like Japanese violence and sex and robots and dystopian shit and nuclear
amazing.
bombs and
Going
ape shit.
It was good. It was all very, very realistic. That's another thing that I noticed. It wasn't super like a lot of anime.
It wasn't cartoonish.
Well, I mean, when I see anime nowadays, it seems like it just looks like an extension of like superpower movies. Like and I get it, like it's all cool, but it's like guys are flying and shooting fireballs out of their hands, and it's all cool. Like that's neat and all. But there is also anime that I've obviously I don't know a lot about it, but there's somewhere it's like those details of where like the scene is not extravagant, but what's happening is like heart clenching. It's like good writing once again. Like some animes go right for you, and it's pretty interesting.
I strongly suggest watching any of that's the guy I referenced. Makoto Shinkai is the director. Excellent visuals, excellent stories, and
send me two videos or two movies.
All right.
That you would recommend as someone who doesn't watch that shit.
I'll watch. I'll send you the
put them in the description of the YouTube.
Sure, they're on YouTube. If you want to like rent them, you can. There's both subbed and dubbed versions.
I'm gonna make like a TikTok where it's like one day on anime, second day on anime, and just me, just
non-disco.
I remember. But yeah, I'll send you those animes. It's his two most recent movies, which are my two favorites so far. He's working on this next one now, but he has like 6 or 7 movies. But you can disregard them if you want. Okay. All right, so
I'm making a short segue now.
Sure.
Because it's very, very late / early on my side of the planet.
Indeed.
Do we want to ramble or rant about something for 20 minutes? Do you want to do that, or do you want to like?
Do you want to go to bed, Jörg?
I can do another 20 minutes of rant.
You're like,
all right. Well, then I'll save the civilization route for next time.
Yes, please.
Okay, understood.
Yes, please.
Because then I can
read
up a bit more.
And it's totally fine because it was
a member of this group.
It was a little more, I guess, casual. This go around, which is fine.
You think?
Well, I mean, maybe not, because
we went like good deep.
Yeah, they were good topics, but we kind of let the conversation evolve on its own, right?
Yep. Fucking Neuralink threw us all off.
And then we got onto anime.
Damn you, Elon.
No one had a good answer about Mars or Neuralink, and we all got confused. Like our whole is our life the lie? Fuck, this is a simulation.
I expected exactly this.
Yeah, it's okay. It could be worse.
Yeah.
All right. What do we want to rant about for 20 minutes?
Well, I mean,
we already had Cyberpunk. Don't bring it back up.
Yeah.
Again.
Well,
got Cyberpunk.
I won't talk about it. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Shit. I'm
Yeah. Short question. Do you guys watch like band documentation?
Yes.
Stuff?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Can you tell me which band docus you think have to be watched by every person that's in a band?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, in a band? Yeah, I know exactly which one.
Tell me.
The Metallica documentary that they did with Some Kind of Monster. Yeah. If you want to if you're in a band, you have to watch that, because it is so eye-opening to watch legends, millionaire legend metal dudes, bitch and moan and deal with petty nonsense in the studio, and it's so good to watch because then you'll realize it's kind of normal. Because like if you're working on music with a band and you're having trouble and you're getting pissy, it's like, why can't I? It's like even the guys up top are acting like little bitches, and it's such a good documentary because you get to see, especially James Hetfield, go through getting sober in the middle of an album.
Yeah.
You're like, what the? It's so interesting. That for a band to see, that would be the one I would recommend for sure.
I watched all of the Metallica ones. I was super into Metallica ones.
Too. Good stuff.
Yeah.
Who wasn't?
Yeah. What was
you have to go really far to find any person that listened to metal that
doesn't have at least one Metallica album that they like.
Yeah.
What was the
or went through a Metallica phase and say like, yeah, but Metallica sucks for me now, which is okay. But I think when you were like 12 years old, you
were like, this is cool.
You had the best times too.
The first Metallica album I ever heard was Load.
Really?
Oh, I'm sorry, Reload.
Reload.
Yeah, from '97. I mean, I was 11 years old when I heard it. I was like, this is awesome. And then I didn't even know about like Master of Puppets and Ride the Lightning and the Justice for All. Come on.
What album was where the first Unforgiven was?
Black.
That Black album, 91.
Okay, then was that the first album I've ever heard of Metallica?
My favorite Metallica album is Injustice. But S&M 2 just came out, and I need to hear it. I forgot. Yeah.
They did a second one?
Yes, they did.
Oh, man. Actually, yeah, the S&M, even the first one, the sound on that is astonishing.
Hell yeah.
It's hard to beat.
Indeed.
Okay.
99.
What would your documentary be, Jörg?
Do you know what's it called again? Why is it why we do this or why you do this? It's
is that
not.
I don't know.
The Self-Made Car Bomb documentary, and it came out like a million years ago. It was filmed on a camcorder, I think, but it was entirely self-produced, and it shows the first 3 tours of the band Car Bomb. You all know Car Bomb, right?
Yes, of course.
And they show their first like Spinal Tap tour with another underground band. Then they were on tour with like a gothic rock band and an industrial band, and their third tour was with the Chariot and Gojira, as Gojira was like the pre-Metallica days of Gojira, like before they toured extensively with with Metallica. And then they had he made the singer of Car Bomb made a lot of interviews with bands, I think from of course Gojira, the Chariot, Lamb of God, I think also Metallica.
What year was this documentary made?
I look it up. I watch it every year once,
nice,
at least. So I get reminded, and it's wait a second, I cannot talk and look. Bomb.
Mike, do you have one?
I mean, I liked the
8 years ago.
8 years ago.
Okay.
2012. I watched a lot of the Lamb of God one, especially the one where Randy Blythe got arrested.
That's right. What country was he in?
Fucking some European country. What was it?
Czech Republic.
Yeah.
I guess it was Czech.
Right.
God, what a ugh.
I've sent you to the link for why I do this.
So I had watched all the Lamb of God ones, and then that one came out, and it was like, wow. It was just, I couldn't even imagine.
But I have the feeling, man. Yeah, I watched the documentary recently, meaning this year, someone. I don't think the documentary itself is any good because it shows like, I don't know, this typically aging band image, like, yeah, we were partying hard like early, and oh, we are sober now, blah blah blah, yeah, and half of it is this dire situation, and yeah, I don't want to downplay what happened and the whole nightmare that came with it, and uh, the great decision that Randy said, okay, I will go back and I will stand trial and I will take whatever is happening because I'm say he cared, yeah,
Yeah.
which is bam,
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
think you would have to go like
It takes balls to do that, for
yes,
sure.
yes, sir. Um, but the documentary itself was very mediocre and very it's just another heavy metal band going out there and making stuff and struggling with their age and identity and the market and so on and so forth. It wasn't even like really entertaining. And then this fucking shocker came. Yeah. So don't get me wrong. Yeah. The event was awful. Yeah. And very interesting also to see how it evolved and how.
It's a one of a kind circumstance. Like that's never really
Yeah.
happened before.
But
So
but the documentary was just another metal documentary.
we'll just blame that on the editor.
Uh-huh.
Sometimes a bad editor will fuck your whole thing up.
Maybe Lamb of God isn't that interesting
Ooh.
anymore.
Ooh.
Dare I said it.
You know what documentaries
that has 3 O's.
I just had a light bulb moment. You know what documentaries I really liked? And they're free to watch. The Periphery one. Have you seen the Periphery ones? They're just fun.
This studio documentary.
Yeah, they're just fun.
What I liked about them, I mean, there is the one. It's called Stay Inside. That had this kind of narrative, yeah, and it showed the goofy guys like writing and recording in Misha's apartment, and they showed like a really high glossy picture of how it is to play in a professional band today. Like you record your own stuff and you send it to studio and they mix and master and edit it and so on and so forth. Yeah, but they're like easygoing, fun guys. Yeah. What I liked were the documentaries before that. Yeah,
Sure.
because they felt right. They were like this high intensity cut of impressions, and I always felt like when I was in the studio, I could never remember like whole days or whole processes. It was like studio and recording and stress and this blah, 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 and getting out. Right. You know, it was like only short moments. Yeah,
those 8-hour days go by like nothing. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I only had like flashes, and then I saw the Periphery documentary, and I was like, this is how studio feels like. Yeah, like chaotic and weird and funny and awful because you're sitting there with another guy and you're basically exposing you musically and skill wise. Yeah. And you basically have to like record with a gun at your head. Yeah. And this is very stressful. Yeah.
Sure.
Actually, this raw, low quality, high intensity cut stuff that felt right. Yeah. Also, I think a great documentary is. I mean, you can like or hate this band like all the bands. Like, do you know Horse the band? Have you ever heard of them? They're like a weird band because they make this Nintendo Core thing. They were like a metalcore-ish
that's funny
kind of band with this keyboard that made Game Boy music. Yeah, and everything was Game Boy and Nintendo related, kind of. And they themselves organized, booked, and financed a world tour. Like and they went on tour, 5 guys, band, 1 photographer and 1 filmer. The filmer had the great name Gary LaChance, which I really like.
That's funny.
And then they started in San Francisco, played Australia, New Zealand, then they went up to Japan, South Korea, then China, then Vietnam and Indonesia and India, then Turkey. Then they played, I think, Israel and some Africa. Then a European tour. Then fucking Russia. Then a tour in Great Britain. And then New York. New York was the last gig. Yeah, they paid everything in credit cards.
Oh my god!
They flew every day. Is this just it's on the YouTube? Yeah, just Google Horse the Band World Tour. Yeah.
Oh my god!
As I said, musically, it's not. It's when
it's
you don't
acquired
like
taste.
Weird.
It is,
yeah. I mean, the band is punk rock as fuck. They go on stage, and they say like, if anyone in the crowd sweats more than the guys on stage, then you're a worthless band member. This is how they perform. It's like sport, yeah. And they did it like a DIY world tour, yeah. Imagine that.
Yeah. They got one hell of one of the band members is a good accountant. He's a good manager. You know what I mean? He's the guy who's like, all right, I got all the notes figured out.
One guy did it. One guy organized it himself and paid it himself for the whole band. And they made a documentary with like 10 episodes per 1 hour. Yeah.
Wow.
And it just shows how they deteriorate, like basically from human beings to lesser human beings. To like just they just function then, but man, their shows get more and more violent and better, yeah. And
so
raw
horse, like the
horse, yeah, like the animal, horse of the band. Yeah?
Okay.
And it's simply called Horse the Band World Tour by Gary LaChance. And this is the most DIY stuff, and it is entertaining, it is shocking, it is funny, it is raw, yeah. As I said, the music is very acquired taste. They don't have like a production crew that makes stuff. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I enjoy like what's it called? 100 Days by Architects, and I enjoy this fuck. What's the name of the band? Australian metalcore band. Huge Australian metalcore band.
Unearth.
Parkway Drive.
Parkway Drive.
They have great documentaries. They're neatly filmed and great imagery, and they have this kind of rock band pathos to it, like bigger than life and everything's a struggle, but in the end we made it through and together and stuff like that, which is cool and it's very inspiring, yeah. But it's just a tiny portion of the truth and how non glorious it is to be the band, yeah. And sad documentaries like Horse the Band World Tour and Why You Do This. Please watch it and send me your opinions, or let's talk about it the next time, because I think it's of course it's important how a documentary looks like, because when it's professional then you enjoy watching. But I think with the documentary it's more important how it feels like. Yeah. And sometimes quality is not like visual quality, yeah, is not the most important thing. It has to be authentic.
Everybody likes seeing the blooper reels of things. You know what I mean? Because it's just because it's kind of it's the realest you're ever seeing, because it's the opposite of what you saw originally. So you know, there's a charm in both of it, of course.
Definitely. But the blooper is always like the
best. Those are still picked out too, because there's a lot of downtime.
Part of reality, or the entertaining part of reality. Because
there was also 15 other bloopers that weren't funny at all because someone just fucked up and they didn't say, you know what I mean? So there still is misery somewhere in there.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a bunch
I'm
to
into it.
watch. Good shit.
Hell yeah.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Well, boys.
Also,
Yeah.
Car Bomb.
Car bomb.
band.
What
Car
was
bomb.
the car bomb one?
Why you do this? Why we do this?
Why we do this?
I
Cool.
sent you the link on the Facebooks. So I am
Yes.
tired.
Just
as
under
fuck.
3 hours.
Great.
Started a
Thanks
little
for
late
saying
today,
that, buddy.
but yeah, Jörg the champ.
Powering through with the power
Caffeine.
of caffeine.
I'm about to go get some as well.
Yeah.
at dinner.
So I hope we can do this next year again.
Indeed, it will
because
be next year.
The year is almost over.
Yeah, don't-
Hopefully, we don't get 2020 part 2.
yeah, it's the
Have you
13th month,
seen-
boys. Yes.
Have you seen the meme with
Oh, yeah.
the 32nd of December?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it goes
Yeah.
into the 13th month on the clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know this
Yeah.
guy,
It's that
Grams.
just
dude's
like
face where he's smiling.
First,
Yeah.
yeah, and then you see the clock and it's like, I expect that to happen.
Oh man.
Same.
Yeah. Or have you seen the one with the dyslexic Mayan who had
Got
to
the-
write
the 21 mixed
2021,
up.
but he wrote 2012. Yeah, great memes. So,
Great
Mike, thanks
Yes.
again
course.
for putting up and hosting this greatness. And
Hell
thank
yeah.
you, Joe, for your time and expertise and big boy words.
Space
And
boys.
It's been,
Yeah,
it's been a
and-
good time, and thank you, Mike, for
course.
having us.
Of course. Fun.
And thank you,
Yeah.
George.
Hell yeah.
It's always a pleasure.
All right.
always a pleasure.
We will see
All
you
right, boys.
all next year.
Yeah, and to the 3, 4, 5 people that are watching this, you're the heroes.
Yes.
Later, boys.
See ya.
Thanks.
Yeah.